She has traveled with me to many Storytime times. This is the 5th iteration and the 4th venue of Storytime times. So it's been here and there over the years, and she was at the first ever iteration back in Cohoes. If you speak about a city you don't want to with your doors unlocked, that's Cohoes. And so she has come back to us tonight. Please welcome Lydia Nightingale.
All right. Okay, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to take this out here. All right. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Lydia Nightingale, and I actually was born in Troy. I was there for about 8 years, and then I moved to Clifton Park. And obviously, well, not always, obviously, but I went to Shenendehowa for school in Clifton Park. And when you are, I guess, a 6th grader going to Shenendehowa, and you are a decent singer, I got both of those, you are probably in the select chorus at Acadia, Gowanna, Coda, called the Ambassadors. And the big thing for the Ambassadors was that when you hit 7th grade, you were allowed to go on the yearly trip to dance in the Macy's Day Parade. So what you got, and I don't think they do it anymore, but what they used to do is have 800 to about 1,000 kids come in from all over the country. First, they would send them these videotapes. They would learn the dances that they needed to know. And then they would all come to New York City a couple days before Thanksgiving and kind of rehearse and then dance for NBC and get to be on TV and everything. So it was very, very exciting. So I knew that I was going to be doing that when I got into Ambassadors, and I was so excited. And we get the tapes, and we're about, I think it was like the week before we were about to learn the dances, 9/11 happened. So 9/11 happens, and obviously a lot of the parents of kids who were supposed to go on that trip didn't really know if they wanted their kids going on that trip anymore 2 months after September 11th. So my mom was one of those parents. So I was kind of not pushing her. I was just like, okay, Mom, well, I really want to go, but I guess it's up to you. And my mom tells me to this day, and now I'm going to put the mic back because my hands shake when I'm on stage. There we go. Much better. So my mom tells me to this day that that this was the second time that God spoke directly to her. When he told her, listen, she can go on the trip, I'll take care of her. So that's great, because the first time that he spoke to her was when he told her to marry my dad. So, so 2 for 2 there, because that got me out of the combination. So there you go. So anyway, so I was allowed to go on this trip, which was amazing, and I was super excited about it. And of course, the fear was still there. There was that huge fear, huge feeling of very raw patriotism going on. And it wasn't helped by the fact that the day that I was leaving, my sister gives me a hug and goes, all right, have fun, don't breathe in any white powder. And I was like, thanks, sis, it's great. But I still went, and we went on, I believe, a bus down to New York. And we were there for a few days. We got to do a bunch of really cool things. We saw the Music Man on Broadway. We went to Roxy's restaurant and got sandwiches that were like this high. It was very New York. And we got to stay at the Marriott Marquis. So in Times Square. So one of the first kind of crazy things that happened was we had been rehearsing that day at the Jacob Javits Center. And we went back to the Marriott Marquis, and we are standing waiting for the elevator to go up to our rooms. And I kind of look behind me as this huge group of people in suits come in, and they're standing at the elevators on the other side. And I look at my friend and I say, that guy looks like Rudy Giuliani. And I was like, we're kind of looking at him. And the guy who was standing there right at the edge of the group, he turns to me and says, "Yeah, it is. You want to meet him?" And I was like, "I don't know. I mean, I'm like 12 years old and I don't know what to do." So, so what happened, which was great, was that of course, as soon as Giuliani heard his name, he immediately turned around. He was like, "Who wants to meet me?" So he comes over. Well, you know. So he comes over, and he comes right up to me, and he shakes my hand. And he's like, "So, where are you from?" And I was like, "Clifton Park." And he's like, "I don't know what that is." And I was like, "Okay." And so thankfully my teacher was there. She said Saratoga, which him being a rich white man, he understood. So we did meet Mayor Giuliani, and we all got a picture with him. I have no idea where that picture is now. I don't know if he's disappeared from it yet or anything. But anyway, so that was kind of our first big crazy thing that happened when we were there. And it honestly just got crazier. We ended up rehearsing in Herald Square. I think that, or like the next night or something. And we thankfully were, and I think there were around 850 this year. Probably a bunch of them got culled out because their parents were too afraid to let them come. And so we were on the edge of one of the kind of sections of kids. So the NBC cameramen are all around us, and they just pointed at about 12 of us, and they were like, you. What you're gonna do is at this part in the song, you're not gonna do your dance moves, you're just gonna turn to the camera and go like, and that's what you're gonna do. And we're like, okay, and so that was pretty cool because on the day that the parade was broadcast, my mom actually recognized me with a ponytail, which made no sense because I never wore my hair in a ponytail, but a mama knows her daughter, especially when God told her to let her come. So it was really cool because 12 of us got to kind of be featured on NBC. And so, you know, the night before the big day comes, and we were really scared because, you know, I mean, in some people's minds, this was a perfect opportunity for Al-Qaeda to bomb us and do whatever. So it was very kind of tense, and we had heard a lot about all the security that was going to be happening. And so we all went to bed, and then the day began. And let me tell you, it was not as glamorous as everybody might think it is, because you have to get up at 4 in the morning. You are not allowed to eat or drink anything for the entire day because you don't want to have to go to the bathroom. And then, you know, you get into all of the clothes that the parade tells you have to wear, you know, the sweatshirts that say America Sings and all that. And even if it's too hot, which it was, it actually wasn't as cold as we thought it was going to be, you couldn't take any of it off. And so they get you to Herald Square, stand there for 2 hours, and wait for, you know, the signal that you can actually perform your dance. And that was actually pretty exciting because originally the song was supposed to be like Street Dance Party or something. But as soon as 9/11 happened, they were like, oh, patriotic, right. And so they switched it to Celebrate America. So that was a lot of like, Celebrate America. Da, 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 da. And there were things like, let me see if I can do it. Windmill. And there was also the popcorn, but I'm not going to do that because I'll fall over. So a lot of like kind of cool stuff that looks cool when a bunch of people are doing it at once. So we did the Celebrate America song, and then we actually got on our own subway train with our own cops to go across town and line up on the steps of some museum. And we had to wait for the entire parade to go by for us to get in line behind Santa. And then, and then we would have to do our two other dances, America Sings and We Need a Little Christmas, over and over and over and over for 3 hours. So it was kind of a weird time though, because we're on the steps and we literally had people dropping left and right because they didn't have anything in their stomachs and they had no hydration. So it was kind of scary because we were all like, oh my God, we're all going to die on these steps. But it was also cool because we got to see O-Town go by, and we got to see Steve from Blue's Clues go by, which was so exciting. Guys went to college. It's fine. He's fine. So we got to watch everybody go by. We got in line behind Santa, and we danced forever and ever. And I have never been more thirsty in my life. It was the worst. And somehow I had to go to the bathroom too, and I hadn't had anything to drink all day. And it was too hot, and nobody was even looking at us because they were all looking at Santa, and nobody cared that we were doing the dances, and we kept getting out of line because things would move really slow, and you could do the dance even though you were squished together, and then all of a sudden Santa would fucking take off, and you just have to be running after him, trying to sing, nobody even knows what you're singing. So it was insane. And the funny thing is that my mom actually, to make herself feel better, and yeah, I understand, she actually sent my dad down to New York, and he was running alongside the parade, trying to keep an eye on me. And, as there are cops everywhere, there's literally helicopters flying over our heads. We finally reached the end, and all of a sudden, it was probably the scariest part, was it was so chaotic when everything breaks up, because all of a sudden, the floats are going back here and they're going back here. Everybody's trying to get back to their apartment buildings, and we're, immediately my teacher was like, everybody, bring the pants, we're going back to the hotel, don't get anybody out of your sight. So I kind of waved at my dad and I was like, see you tomorrow, and then went back and we all chugged a bottle of water when we got home to the hotel. And it was very, very chaotic. It was very insane, Giuliani and all of that fun stuff, and getting to be on TV, and like I said, not as glamorous as you would think, but to this day, it was one of the most, I'm so proud of what we did. The fact that we were just yeah, it's 2 months after September 11th, and yeah, part of our, most famous city is a burning hole in the ground. We're just gonna still have our fucking parade. We are not gonna let you keep us from having this and keep us from being there and showing off how much, we love each other and we support each other and we love our country. So, even though I wouldn't say this as a 12-year-old, fuck you, terrorists. Thank